Hey, buddies, what's up? It's Concert Buddy. This week's video is just a quick recap. I hadn't done a recent finds video in some time. Long overdue to some, probably not overdue to others, and that's fine. But coming up after the break, I'm going to show you, not all, but some of the records that I was real excited to pick up here in the last several weeks. Cue that lever, let's go. It's been busy lately, buddies. I gotta be honest with you. Between personal stuff, professional stuff, and my real job, my real life job, stuff I've been doing for Vinyl Community Podcast, cheap plug, that I haven't had a moment to sit down and share some records I've been picking up. Because make no mistake, I've been buying records this entire time. All that said, some of the records I'm going to show are probably a little unconventional, and some are a little off the beaten path, but some are items I've had on my want list for a while. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of things that I've been consciously trying to add to the collection, been making purposeful and intentional time to listen to them, etc. here in the Spin Center, Concert Buddy Industries, whatever. So let's just get into it. Let me show you what I got.
Awful.
All right, the first album I'm going to talk about is that unconventional choice that I was kind of alluding to in the open, and that is this album from Mandy Moore called In Real Life. Now, Mandy Moore kind of broke in, I think, like 1999. She was in that era of Total Request Live on MTV, Jessica Simpson, Britney, and Christina, and all that stuff. I think she came from Orlando. You probably know her more of late being on that TV show This Is Us. She's been in several films, A Walk to Remember, yada yada. But you may even know her for something else, and that's her choice of spouses. And she was married for several years to Ryan Adams, not Bryan Adams, Ryan Adams, the musician. They kind of had a cantankerous divorce. But now she's married to a guy named Taylor Goldsmith, who coincidentally is the lead singer of one of my favorite bands, Dawes. And this album is in part a Dawes project in the sense that, and this is part of the reason I picked it up, the album came out early 2022, and I recently learned that Dawes, specifically Taylor, helped craft several of the songs on this album, and that Dawes in spirit and in practice was the backing band for predominantly most of this album, which really appealed to me on a lot of levels, between Taylor's songwriting and guitar work, his brother Griff on the drums, even Lee Pardini on keys. I was really interested and piqued because Mandy Moore does have a great singing voice. I think her career didn't hit the stratosphere of the Britneys and Christinas and so forth, probably because of the songs themselves, and that's not a dig or anything, but I think it's just my interpretation. Went into TV, divested, and made a different type of career, movies, film, etc. More power to her. But when I heard that Dawes was involved in this album, it piqued my interest. And then what also piqued my interest is that Amoeba had this on their website. I got it for like $10 shipped. So for $10, definitely an album worth taking a flyer on. And I'll say it's a pretty good album. It's definitely Dawes inspired, which I really liked a lot. The title track, In Real Life, very good. It's not something that I would listen to over and over and over again. I would probably put it on here and there when the mood struck. But I gotta be honest, it's my only Mandy Moore album in the collection. I mean, I'm not a big fanboy. I don't have like her first album with her probably biggest hit, Candy, on it from 1999.
Boss ass bitch.
I mean, think about it. To still have a career 20 plus years, I mean, from opening for like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys in the late 90s, early 2000s to this album, it's a pretty venerable career if you think about it. But I thought this was a good album. It's one that I'm content with having in the collection. I'll probably file it under the Dawes stuff. Sorry, just being real.
It's just absolutely awful.
Another album I picked up recently is Papa Roach, who, spoiler alert, I really dig Papa Roach. If you like the Limp Bizkit, Korn, nu metal type sound, Papa Roach was definitely involved in that era of music. They kind of matured their sound a little bit, particularly on later albums, but we can talk about that another time. This album's called Love, Hate, Tragedy, all one word. This came out a couple of years ago, but surprisingly not very easy to track down. I'd never seen it in a store. I had to do the whole Discogs thing, waiting for the right album to come up, right price, because I wasn't, like, this was one of those albums that I was fiscally disciplined in when it came to waiting for the right price. I found one come up. It was a make an offer, which is always a lot of fun. Sometimes it works out in your favor, and this one worked out in my favor. Really nice condition. I mean, some of the signature songs on here, She Loves Me Not, probably the most famous one on here. Life is a Bullet, another really good song. Born with Nothing, Die with Everything, great song. I will say that Papa Roach as a whole and their discography is one that I've listened to for years, especially for working out, exercising, that sort of thing. Just really straight to the point, driving rock songs. Not all their stuff's on vinyl, which is kind of surprising. Most of it is, but not everything. So I'm hoping that kind of corrects itself, because some of the albums that are not on vinyl are ones I'd like to pick up. But I was happy to score this for a fair price and add it to the collection.
You know that's not true.
Next album I'm going to talk about is one that may end up in one of my 90s albums videos before too long, but it's ending up in this video for right now. And this is the 1998 Jammer, You've Come a Long Way Baby, by Fatboy Slim. Fatboy Slim, also known as Norman Cook, longtime DJ, music producer. He was kind of influential in the big beat sound of the 90s. This album in particular, and you know how I am about collecting 90s records. Even if they sound like dog shit, I'm still not anxious, but I'm still eager to collect albums from that time, because they weren't produced, they weren't mass produced, they're not readily available, etc. This one sounds all right, but probably the two signature songs that you'll take away from this are Praise You, which I did some commercial work for, and You've Come a Long Way Baby, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry, Right Here, Right Now, which is more of a club type song. I think they probably used it in soundtracks too, if I'm not mistaken, but I've never seen this one in person before until one of my locals had it recently. I actually went to one of my locals, thought I was going to buy one thing, and maybe you can relate to this if you're watching this. Go to the store, got a record in the hand, you're like, okay, this is what I'm getting, and then you look in that last bin and find something, and you're like, oh man, I've never seen this before. As I always try to remind myself, if you've never seen it before, that's the time to get it, because you may not see it again.
Learn it. Know it.
I was going to buy, went back in the bin because I think I can pick that up at a later time, and this one came home with me, and I'm glad it did. Last album I'm going to talk about in my recent pickups here, buddies, is one I've been chasing for a hot minute. And I say that because reissues abound. Reissues wouldn't have been too hard to pick up, but I've been chasing the original release. This is from 1999. This is Rage Against the Machine, The Battle of Los Angeles. As you can see, this beaut still has the hype sticker, and more importantly, to me, when this was released on vinyl, it came with a slip mat. I have it actually inside, so I'm not going to open it here, but this one did come with a slip mat. If you go online trying to find a copy of this original, 98% of the time they don't have the slip mat. Happens, right? But this one was the total package. Shrink, hype, slip mat, 1999 OG. But what a great album. This is the third studio album for Rage Against the Machine. Obviously, they're self-titled. Instant Classic, I think that was 92. And then Evil Empire, 96, if I'm not mistaken. And then this one rounded out the decade in 99. Terrific. You think about, this is one of those ones that has killer songs from top to bottom. If you've got Testify, you've got Sleep Now in the Fire, Calm Like a Bomb, Guerrilla Radio. That was probably the signature terrestrial radio song from back in that time, but amazing song. It was the first time I'd actually heard of this expression, the voice of the voiceless, that you hear kind of a lot in pop culture now. CM Punk, the professional wrestler, will use it a lot. But man, I've been chasing this one, been hunting this one for a couple years to find it with the slip mat, to find it as an OG, because I think it was Music on Vinyl had a reissue of this. Again, reissues haven't been hard to find in this. Similar to the rest of their catalog, you can find a reissue of the self-titled, you can find a reissue of Evil Empire if you look hard enough, but an OG in shrink with the slip mat, come on, playa. Doesn't get any better than that, buddies. For real.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
And that's it, buddies. I've picked up far more records than I've shown here, if I'm being honest, but let's just kind of dip our toe into bathwater and take it easy. I don't want to overwhelm or make a 45-minute video. Nobody's got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
But what I'll say is I appreciate you watching. Tell me what you think about these pickups below. Treasure or trash. I always love hearing your feedback. And tell me what you've picked up that you're super pumped. Maybe it's something that you can inspire my wallet to leave my trusty pocket and spend some money online or otherwise. But anyway, buddies, I appreciate you watching. Thanks for your continued support of the Concert Buddy YouTube channel, your continued support of Vinyl Community Podcasts, and just spending your time with me, watching this stuff, listening to this stuff. It means a lot. Until the next time, buddies, when you get the chance to listen to records like that or your recent pickups on your own, just spin it. See you soon.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
Well, we out of time.